Highway 20 was designated as one of the cross-country highways by a Highway Act in 1926.
It was.
10, 20, 30 the Lincoln Highway, and I think 40. And then 66 went from Chicago to...
I remember Route 66 because that was a television show.
Right, see, that had a lot of glamour too, and you had the Okies and but 20 we're thinking, I mean, of course we don't have the book yet, but we're thinking about calling the book The Accidental Highway, because it just kind of, 20 became a cross-country highway almost accidentally. It's like a small town highway almost everywhere, and it kind of like got connected from dot to dot to make it all the way across the country. But it's the longest highway in the United States now.
Where does it start?
Boston. And it ends, and it starts at Highway 1 along the ocean in Boston, and it ends in...
of the Charles River, I suppose.
I think so. I haven't been there yet. And then it ends in Newport, Oregon, at 101, you know, by the ocean.
Well, I've been at both ends then, because I've been in Newport and I've been in Boston.
Okay. But did you know it was one and the same highway at that point?
No, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I learned now.
Uh-huh. So you didn't know it was a cross-country highway until now, or?
I didn't know it was a cross-country highway, and I didn't know where it started or ended.
Well, you're like 90% of the people. Nobody seems to know about it.
Well, we were saying, when you think about that highway going all the way across the country, look how many people can identify with it somewhere.
Yes.
You know, because if you lived close to it, like she lived close to it as a girl and what have you, you're naturally going to identify with 20, and so you're going to be curious as to what this book has to say about the rest of it. Not many people have the opportunity to do the whole highway, you know.
Where does it go when it gets...
from here?
Does it go to Casper?
Yes, Casper. It goes right through Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
It goes into Mountain Home and Boise and Burns, Bend, you know, in Oregon. But it goes right through Yellowstone. They call it the Yellowstone Highway in some cases. At one point, they even call it the Custer Highway. They named part of it, I think it was in Iowa.
He was a loser.
I know it. But at some place in Iowa, they call it the Custer Highway because there's a letter written by Mrs. Custer who felt very honored that...
oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So it's there's a lot of history there about the highway. Part of it was on the Oregon Trail.
Well, you really have dug out an awful lot of material.
Yeah, I think they're getting a lot of information.
Huh.
3 bins full. So there's a lot of history in it, and it's interesting because everybody like you think of it as their local highway.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people know it goes cross country, and it goes through, Yellowstone, for instance.
Yeah.
Well, it started out from as a trail from Valentine to Gordon and Rushville and Chadron as a settler trail.
Mm-hmm.
Scammahorns came on that.
Who's Scammahorns?
Scammahorn is the founder of Gordon.
Oh.
He brought a group of people from Indiana to settle in Gordon and start the town.
Hmm.
And the railroad at that time came just as far as Valentine, I believe. And I think they drove up from Valentine. And I don't know if they came all the way on that trail or not, but they will come part of the way anyway on the trail.
Hmm.
I wondered if it would have been an Indian trail at one point.
I don't think so. They had trails, but their trails went up to the Tongue River,
Mm-hmm.
and the Little Tongue and the Big Tongue, and to the Custer Territory up there.
Mm-hmm.
The Indians didn't go down the sand hills anyway because, for one thing, it was too hard on their ponies.
Oh.
And before that, they didn't have ponies, and it was too hard on them.
Mm-hmm.
They stayed on the hard ground.
Mm-hmm. Because in the east it was an Indian trail, the Allegheny Trail.
Oh, I wouldn't wonder.
Yes, and then it became a stagecoach trail, and went on.
Well, the Indians would never have taken a dry trail like that anyway. They would stay close to water.
Mm-hmm.